So, a face in three-quarter view. I covered three-quarter view of a face in the extensive lesson for how to draw lips, and also how to draw a nose in three-quarter view. I covered it as well. But the basic measurements all rely on understanding the line of symmetry on a face and where to place all the features of a face on that line of symmetry. So as I showed you, how to draw a nose is line of symmetry, and then you have the line wherein the nose sits, and then you have let's just say you have a pair of lips here waiting. You have slit number 1 is closer to the line than nostril number 2, and then the wife is past it over here, and then slit number 1, slit number 2, erase down. Sorry about the bad quality of art at the current moment. And then you have that. You have the side view here. The wife that I told you guys, Bob and Steve. I didn't draw Bob and Steve this time. I kind of cheated, but bear with me. So that's a quarter view for a nose. Okay, basic acceptable quarter view under anyone's standards. Pretty basic stuff that I already showed you in the how to draw a a nose in three-quarter view video. Lips in three-quarter view, same concept. You have the line that wherein the nose ends, that's line number 1, and then this one here, line number 2. This is further away from the center line than this. Point of three-quarter view is that you're only seeing 3/4 of the face in full. The other quarter is gone. That's why they call it three-quarter view, because you're not seeing, you have front view and then you have side view, and then when you turn it over, you have the profile view, and when you turn it over to see the person, you don't see all of it, you just see 3/4. There's 1/4 left, which is the other side that you don't see. So you see all 4/4 in front view, and on side view there's one side that you're not seeing, and they call that a three-quarter view. Because the face is divided into 4 parts. You have one side of the left side, one side of the right side, then you have the nose, you have the lips, and then the front part of the face ends here. And then you have this side where the ear and the chin and the jawline is, and then ear and jawline. These are the 2 other quarters. In three-quarter view, you only see these 3. You don't see this side. You don't see the other ear. You don't see the side of the nose. You don't see this side of the side of the face, the inner corner of the eyes. You don't see a lot of this area here, and the lips and the chin. That's why they call it three-quarter view, because you're only seeing this side, and this side. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 3. It's counting and it's still end. So when it comes to drawing it, the way to organize your picture is to always have that line of symmetry. How are you gonna know which quarters you're drawing if you don't have the middle point established? So you need to you need to remember that drawing a nose in three-quarter view, drawing a pair of lips in three-quarter view, and drawing eyes in three-quarter view means there's one side, depending on which side you're drawing, left or right, there's one side that's closer to the symmetry line than the other side. This side has more space to be, let's say, to be visible. This side has less space because this side is the corner of the face. So let's imagine this is a really weird person's face, so masculine. This side here is where the side of the face is. This side here where we see cheekbones, where we see the dip, where we see the brow bone, where we see the chin and the jawline, and where we see the dip of the hollow of the cheek. So when you draw a three-quarter view, you have your face, you have your basic face shape, you have a good chin settled in. Draw in a line of symmetry. But when you draw the line of symmetry in, you don't draw it like this. No. Right now, if you draw a straight line up and down, this is just the center of mouth. This is just a toothpick through a piece of cheese. What you need to do is groove that, curve it, that line of symmetry with the fatness of the face. So the fat of the face, imagine a circle, and you have imagine a baseball. The lines of the baseball move with the baseball. They don't just stay still like this. They move with the baseball or the basketball or whatever. They always stay along the curvature. So it's just a belt around a person, a belt around the ball. So get a ball, put a belt around it. The belt's not going to wrap around straight up and down. It's going to wrap around in a circle. Do you guys know this? Do you guys understand it? So let me give you an example of what I mean by a belt. So you have this belt here. We've tied it up. There's a little buckle here. Now we're going to move the belt sort of to the side a little bit. The belt is going to look like it's smaller, and then we're going to move it again and again and again and again and again until it's straight. So when we're looking at a person's face, front view, all we see is the straight belt. We see a straight belt. We see stuff on either side. Okay? When we see a person in 3/4 view, the belt is along the side like this. So do you guys see what I'm saying? This here, this little thing that I'm explaining to you, is something that all of you skip. Not all of you. There's some of you here that have a seriously difficult time, more difficult than necessary, drawing 3/4 view, and it's because when it comes to the point where I'm explaining the importance of this ellipses here, this circle, this belt, this symmetry line, some of you don't take it as seriously as you should. So when it comes to the moment where you need help with 3/4 view, you forget what it is you're supposed to be using because you didn't pay attention. So this important line here helps you determine the sides of the features. So as I said, nostril number 1 is further away than nostril number 2. So all you really need to do is draw one of the nostrils, and you know where the other nostril is. If you start the nostril here, you know that this nostril finishes here. And then you have 2 slits, and then you have the bulge, which I talked about in the video, which you should watch. This part I call the wife. Okay, and then now we have a really big nose. Okay? For the lips, one second, let me just get the form of this. Okay, for the lips, same idea. All you need is one of the corners of the lips, one of those important corners that I give you. So this corner is here. If it's this close, it means this one is about, you eyeball it, it's about half the way through. And so then you draw the corner, and then you draw that. With the eyes I also talked about. You need the crease of the eye here in order to draw one eye. This eye is closer, or the shape of this eye is closer this way, and this one is further along. Let's imagine this guy's nose is like massive. I just did it on purpose. Okay, let's make him like all cool style. Okay, total fail. Fail at cool style. Okay, and then you have chin. Just reshape the face according to what it is you were designing, and then now you have a very cute looking person face thing. Okay, I did this nose really big on purpose. It could be Mario. The reason why I could construct this face and along in any other face in 3/4 view is because of the symmetry line. What have you learned so far? What is the most important lesson that I've taught you up till now about 3/4 view? The most important thing. Next time you find yourself stuck on 3/4 view, you'll know what to do. The ellipses. What's it also known as? I want the specific name so that you guys understand its function. What does it mean to have a symmetry line? What does symmetry mean? What does it entail? What does symmetry mean? So I've been using that word a lot in my semesters, and I want to know that you guys understand what that word means. The symmetry line has to tilt like an ellipses in space. Is that right? That's not really. It is if it's on a subject. If it's on a circular subject. Equal across a bisector. Okay. Distance of the things on each side. You can say that. But the simple definition of a symmetry line is a line that divides the masses or the subjects or the shapes in half equally. It is a line, it is a cross section, it's not a cross section, it is a line that divides or separates or distinguishes between two sides that are equal in mass. Okay, do you guys remember in class when you had the equal sign, and then you had b squared, 2b plus, I don't know, 4 equals, let's figure this out, like 16? I don't know. And then you had this equal, and this line here taught you that the fact that an equation means that both of the sides of the equation equal the same thing, and that 1 plus 1 equals 2. This is the symmetry line. This is the symmetry line. This line here is the subject. Yes, b equals 4. Thank you. This line here is the symmetry line. Line of equation. It means that either side equals to the same thing. It is a line that is repeated in mathematics, it's repeated in geology, it's repeated in physics, it's repeated in chemistry. Chemistry as well, you have to equal one side of the equation of the chemical equation has to equal the masses that are found at the end of the chemical equation, or the gases. It is a line that is represented in everything. Everything requires a symmetry line. Your body has symmetry. Have you ever asked yourself why you have equal parts on either side? Why you have an arm and an arm, a leg and a leg, an eye and an eye, a nose, 2 nostrils, and a lip with 2 corners, ears on either side? It's just the simple function of things. It's the simple existence of things. If you have one side that's gone, it looks weird to us because we think through symmetry. Okay? So we are objects of symmetry. We are created through symmetry. So when I talk about the symmetry line, I want you guys to remember all of this. It's not just a line that helps you draw. It's an actual existing line in your face that just because you don't see God's sketch marks doesn't mean that they're not there. These are actual lines that exist to you. This line here that I've shown you here is straight. This is wrong. I just showed it to you to start the nose. But essentially it has a curvature to it. Sometimes the curvature is barely noticeable. This guy's face is pretty round. But the curvature of it is necessary. You guys need that curvature. That curvature helps you know where to put the chin, where to put the lips, where to put the eyes. People say that the 3/4 view is a very difficult view. That's not true. 3/4 view is not difficult if you understand the power of your symmetry line. Okay? Some of you say, okay, Istebrak, why are you explaining something that we all already know? Well, some of you know this, you just don't know what to call it. Some of you know what a 3/4 view looks like, so when you draw it, it looks actually good. It actually looks like a 3/4 view face and 3/4 view. That's because you have a natural instinctive need to make things symmetrical anyway. But there are some problems that people don't remember to fix when they draw a 3/4 view, and some people don't have that photographic memory to work with. Some people don't have that natural instinctive recognition of beauty. So when they draw a face in 3/4 view, they know how to make it look. They know how to make it look good. Some people don't have that, and so when they draw a face in 3/4 view, and it's what's it called? Let's say they draw it here. They draw an eye, another eye. They draw a nose, and they draw a mouth, and there's chin. And then they have this side of the face like this, and then when they shade it, there's like a nice big cheekbone right there. This is something that I come across all the time. Okay? I don't know what the heck this is. When they draw, they forget that the 3/4 view is actually a front view from the side. So whatever you have in a front view, you're supposed to have in a tutorial, not tutorial, I'm looking at you guys' messages, in a 3/4 view. So if you've represented a cheekbone here, that if we were to see this person's face from the side, from the front view, they would have nice big cheekbones if you've shaded them in. Okay, this person here has cheekbones on this side as well as this side, but when you draw 3/4 view, you forget this. 3/4 view depends on two things. The first 2 quarters that you draw, so this quarter, and then, this quarter, and then this quarter. This quarter is the hardest quarter. Why? Because, in 3/4 view, not in hardest in the world. In 3/4 view. Why is it hard? Because you guys forget that this is an edge. I'm talking about some stuff that's very vague, and I want you guys all to focus right now. This side, first quarter, second quarter, are all flesh seen from the front. There's no edges here. The only edge is the corner of the face, right here. Alright, so you have neck, you have first quarter, second quarter, and then you have the edge. The edge is the 3rd quarter that you see. The first quarter that you see is sort of entering into the 4th quarter that we don't see. So all we're really seeing here, the 2nd quarter or the 3rd quarter, whatever you want to call it, is a representation of the grooves that occur in the face in front view. So you have lines here that go over your face. You have lines that go over the face. They're called contour lines. Let me get a good picture because I feel like I'm not explaining it very well. Okay, this is a pretty girl. Let's copy and replace. So this lady here, this is just some image off Google, has lines on her face called contour lines. They're not there. They're there if you're a 3D modeler, but they're not there if you're seeing it in real life. So you have to start looking at them and notice where they are. There's another one here. These lines move with the curves of the face. God, I hate Facebook. So this one here dips in. Do you see how this one dips in? But then this one here doesn't dip in like that. No, it curves with the fat of her cheek. Then this one is a complete curvature. And then it goes into the eye. And then it has a bigger curvature along the groove of the eyebrow. And then it has the temple. This one here goes straight down because we're seeing it from the front view. This is the line of symmetry that I was talking about. This line of symmetry, this person is actually very beautiful because they're exactly symmetrical on either side. My face isn't exactly symmetrical on either side, but most of the models that you see today, the celebrated beauties, they have very, very symmetrical faces. So this symmetry here represents beauty. Why? Because there's equal distribution of either side. Some of you think that you can duplicate and put it in. Some artists do that. You can go ahead and do that. It saves you time. But as you can see, front view, all you need is this important line, and then you know where everything else is. But side view, you need this line. 3/4 view needs this line, not this line. Shit. Not this line, this line. Do you all understand what I'm saying? I hope that that was a good explanation because I think that's the best I can do for 3/4. Front view, you need this line. Side view, 3/4 view. This is the line that you draw when you draw a face. This is a line here, this line here. You have to represent the up movements, the upward movements, the downward movements, the upward movements, and the downward movements of the contour line. Okay? Okay, guys? This line here represents the grooves of the face as they raise, as they decrease. So when you draw a face in 3/4, what are the 3/4 that you're actually seeing? The 3/4 that you're actually seeing are, so you have symmetry line, you're seeing this quarter. So let's divide this quarter, no. Okay, fine. This neck, okay, give me a minute. This eyebrow here represents the beginning of the temple. This is one groove line right here. One second. Sorry, can you guys hear me? This is the side here. Sorry guys if you hear screaming, it's fucking donkey. You have this side. This side doesn't face us, it faces out. These two areas face us and this side faces out. This is part number 1. This is quarter number 1. Sorry. Fuck. This is quarter number 1 right here. This side faces this way, this side faces this way, and this side faces this way. Okay? Okay, you guys, this is quarter number 1. Quarter number 2 is just the face part, the part that faces us, here and here. And then quarter number 3 is the quarter that we don't see, separated by this line. In third quarter view, we need this line to draw the face. Okay? But, don't just go focusing on this line and forget to curve this symmetry line. Some of you will say, okay, Istebrak, I'll take your advice, and then you'll go and drawing a nice curved third quarter line, but you forget, and then you make this straight, and so you have a very flat face. Okay, and then you get a very flat face. What you need to do is curve this line with it so that the nose sits on a curved edge and the nose moves out of the face. The lips move out of the face. And you get a kissy look. Okay? Some of you make lines that you don't stick to. Some of you do it and then you forget that there's a line there. You guys need to start respecting the lines. Okay? So let's play with this a little bit. Let's make this girl look like she's in 3/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first establish the side view of the ellipses being moved out. And then I'm going to make the curvature of the ellipses, of the symmetry line. So I'm going to push the lines and make them look like her nose is in 3/4, her lip is in 3/4, couple movements along the symmetry line, and we already have something that looks like it's in 3/4 view. And then this is a side that we see. This is the side that we don't see. And then I'll fix the corners of the face in a second. all about that symmetry line. It's all about that important symmetry line that I talk about. Once you can imagine that symmetry line, you can do anything with a face. So this is only her features being in 3/4 view. I still have to make the face in 3/4 view. Just moving the bridge along. Her eyes are a bit warped, but it's okay. And then I'm going to try to make that 3/4 line that I was talking to you guys about, to represent that angle. And then we'll brush a bit over it. Get rid of that extra stuff. Just excuse the roughness for a minute. And Hannibal Lecter on this girl. So we've erased one side as roughly as we have, and we've introduced most of the 1st quarter and gotten rid of 1/4 by moving the contour line. By moving the symmetry line across and introducing a curvature to the symmetry line. And then using this line here to sort of create the 3/4 look. This line here. Okay? But do you see how I didn't touch any of the lights and darks on her face? They still work to create a convincing looking face. Do you see how it's sort of becomes easy? It's it's easy to understand. I would add in a bit more here. It's just so all I did was push in one side this way. Even though it's like a really retarded side view, just bear with me. It's just to explain to you the value of this symmetry line and what it can do. The eyes don't do this, by the way. The eyes do something else, and I've already talked about that. Let's just act like she has a lot of makeup on just to hide that. Okay? What we did was, this line used to be straight, we pushed it this way, and we used this line here to create the side view for us. So now we sort of have like a 3/4 view thing. Okay? It becomes very, very easy to work with this if you understand the value of your 3/4 line and the value and the real important value of your symmetry line. Where would the neck be? The neck moves sort of this way. The neck moves this way as well, because the neck doesn't stay straight on. How is it supposed to stay straight on if the chin protrudes from the neck? So obviously the neck moves to the side a little bit this way, along with the curvature. Let's say this is her neck. This is her shoulder. And don't forget her cheekbones. Okay? So now we have a sort of 3/4 view of the picture of the girl that we had in front view. So we have front view of her face, and then we have side view, only because we moved the image across. We pushed this line here. If we draw the line, it's really retarded, I'm sorry. I should probably just fix the eyebrows for a minute. Just give me a minute. This line is no longer straight. It moved with the symmetry of the face, with the groove of the face. And do you see how this corner is further away, further away than this corner? This corner here is sort of half the distance of this corner, or like 3/4 the distance. Do you see? That's what I mean when I say when you want to create a face in 3/4 views, all of the little signifiers like nostrils closer to the line, lip corners closer, and the distance here is less than the distance here. So everything is closer to the line on the quarter that we don't see in 3/4 view. Okay? But the reason why I could change her face into 3/4 view, and I'm sure you guys can do it too, all you need is a liquify tool, is to remember that the symmetry line is the most important thing in 3/4. Okay? Okie dokie. It's just a face, you guys. In the end, it's just a face. It's just a human face. There's human faces everywhere. We get to see them. We look at them. We stare at them. There's faces everywhere. There's references everywhere. And we have a constant library in our brains filled with these images. And it's not that difficult to remember them. Okay? Make it better like this. And then this side here is the side that I was telling you guys about that you see. So you see quarter number 1, then quarter number 2, and then quarter number 3, and that's it. 3/4. The 4th quarter is invisible. They can be, it's recognizable but not producible as you say, but they can be reproducible if you practice and if you memorize these laws. See that gentle purple right there? It's a very good photograph. Okay, guys? She can be like this, doesn't really matter. Her chin is a bit large. Before, after, okay. And that's essentially what 3/4 view is. The symmetry line pushes off to the side, it reveals its curvature, and all the features on the side that we don't see are closer to the symmetry line. And that's it. That's all it really is, you guys. Does anyone have any questions? So have you ever done some lessons on architecture or perspective? I did a tiny one on just on vanishing points and how to work with 2 vanishing points or 3 vanishing points. And that's pretty much it. I haven't really done a lot on architecture, like architectural design. I have no idea where to start with that. I'd have to research on it before I start teaching it. Okay? Does anyone have any questions? Do you see how we don't have an ear on this side? Okay, we don't have an ear. We don't have a jawline. All we have is the jawline is right over here, hidden past. So if you had like a tape measure and you put it around her chin, we'd see this part of the tape, but we wouldn't see this part of the tape. This part stays behind her face, so we don't see the jawline. We see only one ear. And that's it. That's the essence of three-quarter view. How to get better at seeing these meshes you drew in that girl? I don't get it. Okay. So 3D. It's by making them. That's the only way to get better at them, is by making them. You have to understand where they are, where they move, where they collect. So do you see how they collect in the corners here? Do you see how all the dark parts that I taught you all have a are all where the what's it called? The meshes collect. So lines start off from here, from the nose and in the lip corners. All of these areas are dark because that's where all the mass is collecting, causing little light to come in, and we get a what's it called? A dark spot. These meshes are what I'm talking about. Do you see how this mesh here now is the side view of this mesh, of this line here is a three-quarter view line that is used in this three-quarter view version. And the symmetry line, this front view symmetry line, as I taught you in the how to draw a face from the side, is the line that we see when we look at profile. I don't recommend doing 3D stuff while you're trying to master how to stroke a paintbrush, because I did that and I got into like this really big rift in my brain where I was in 3D mode and I couldn't draw for the life of me. I wasn't, just because 3D, the sad part of it is 3D modeling is the digital version of sculpting. If you want to stay a painter, start sculpting. That's what I could recommend. There's a lot of technical separation involved in 3D modeling using Maya or ZBrush or whatever. ZBrush is the closest thing to sculpting that we have. But if you want to get better at meshes, if you want to get better at understanding contour lines, start sculpting. Get yourself some plasticine and sculpt a face. Swear to God, as soon as you start sculpting faces, you'll start drawing the faces better, because you're going to understand the grooves that you drew. You're going to say, okay, when I made this nose in plasticine and in clay, I did this to it. Why doesn't it look like that when I draw it? Let me think. Okay, there's a place that I don't see, a place that I see. I'm not going to draw the parts that I don't see, but I'm going to suggest that there is a side that's not visible. So I'm going to curve my symmetry line in order to represent that proper circular structure on the three-quarter views. Okay, I don't recommend using a modeling program to learn how to model. You're just going to learn how to 3D model. That's it. You're just going to learn a bunch of technical stuff, technical shortcuts here and there, and that's all you're really going to learn. You're going to learn a little bit of what it means to use meshes and contour lines, but what you need to start doing is actually modeling with clay, sculpting. That's what Michelangelo did, and that's what Da Vinci did. That's what a lot of painters did. They understood the 3D quality of a drawing by sculpting.